Oh, hello. Glad you can make it. You know, way back when I was just a little bitty boy, living in a box under the stairs in the corner of the basement of the house, half a block down the street from Jerry's bait shop, you know the place. Well, anyway, back then life was going swell and everything was just peachy. Except, of course, for the undeniable fact that every single morning, my mother would make me a big old bowl of sauerkraut for breakfast. Big bowl of sauerkraut every single morning. It was driving me crazy. I said to my mom, hey, Mom, what's with all the sauerkraut? And my dear sweet mother, she just looks at me like a cow looks at an oncoming freight train, and she leaned down right next to me. And she said, "It's good for you!" And then she tied me to the wall and stuck a funnel in my mouth and force-fed me nothing but sauerkraut till I was 26 and a half years old. That's when I swore that someday I would get out of that basement and travel to a magical faraway place where the sun is always shining and the air smells like warm root beer and the towels are oh so fluffy, where the Shriners and the lepers play their ukuleles all day long and anybody on the street will gladly shave your back for a nickel. Well, let me tell you, people, it wasn't long at all before my dream finally came true, because the very next day, a local radio station had this contest to see who could correctly guess the number of molecules on Leonard Nimoy's butt. I was off by 3, but I still won the grand prize. That's right, a first-class, one-way ticket to Albuquerque, New Mexico, specifically. Oh, yeah, you know, I'd never really been on an airplane before, and I've got to tell you, it was really great. Except, for, of course, for the fact that I had to sit next to 2 large Albanian women with excruciatingly severe body odor, and a little kid behind me kept throwing up all the time, and then the flight attendant ran out of Dr. Pepper and salted peanuts, and the in-flight movie was Biodome with Pauly Shore, and, oh yeah, you know, 3 of the airplane engines went out, and then we went into a tailspin, and we crashed into the hillside, and the plane exploded in a giant fireball, and everybody died! Except for me. You know why? Because I had my tray table up and my seat in the full upright position! So I crawled from the twisted burning wreckage, and I crawled on my hands and knees for 3 whole days, dragging along my big leather suitcase and my garment bag, my tenor saxophone, my 12-pound bowling ball, and my lucky autographed glow-in-the-dark snorkel. And then finally I arrived at the world-famous Albuquerque Holiday Inn, where the towels are oh so fluffy, and you can eat your soup right out of the ashtray if you wanna. It's okay, they're clean. So I checked into my room, and I turned down the AC, and I turned on the Spectravision, and I was just about to eat that little pillow on the little mint on my pillow that I love so very, 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 very much, when suddenly there's a knock on the door. Well, who could that be, I wonder? I say, who is it? There's no answer. Who is it? There's no answer. Who is it? They're not saying anything. So finally I go over and I open the door, and just as I suspected, it's some big fat hermaphrodite with a flock of seagulls, haircut, and only 1 nostril. Oh man, I hate it when I'm right. So anyway, he jumps into my room and he grabs my lucky snorkel, and I'm like, hey, you can't do that. That snorkel's been just like a snorkel to me. And he's like, tough. And I'm like, give it. And he's like, make me. And I'm like, okay, so I grab his leg, and he grabs my esophagus, and I bite off his ear, and he chews on my eyebrows, and I take out his appendix, and he gives me a colonic irrigation. Yes, indeed, you better believe it. And somehow in the middle of it all, the phone got knocked off the hook, and 20 seconds later, I heard a familiar voice. You know what it said? I'll tell you what it said. It said, if you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again. If you need help, hang up, and then dial your operator. Lovely voice. Wonderful. Only that can happen in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But, to cut a long story short, the 1-nostriled man got away with my snorkel. But then, I made a solemn vow, right then and there, that very day, that I would not sleep, I would not rest for an instant, until the 1-nostriled man was brought to justice. But first I decided to go get some donuts. So then I got into my car, and I drove down to the donut shop, and I walked into the donut store, and the guy behind the counter is like, yeah, what do you want? And I said, you got any glazed donuts? He said, no, we're out of glazed donuts. I said, you got any jelly donuts? He said, no, we're out of jelly donuts. I said, you got any Bavarian cream-filled donuts? He said, no, we're out of Bavarian cream-filled donuts. I said, you got any cinnamon rolls? He said, no, we're out of cinnamon rolls. I said, you got any apple fritters? He said, no, we're out of apple fritters. I said, you got any bear claws? And he says, wait a minute, I'll go check. Now we're out of bear claws! Well, then I say, in that case, what do you have? He looks at me and he says, all I've got is this box of 12 starved, crazed weasels. And I said, yeah, okay, I'll take that. So then he hands me the box and I open up the lid and then these weasels jump out and immediately latch onto my face and start biting me all over. Oh man, they were just going nuts. They were tearing me apart. You know, it was about that time that a little ditty started going through my head. And I believe it went a little something like this. All right, music. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, get them on me! Get them on me! Oh God! Oh, they're everywhere! Oh no! My face! My beautiful face! Ah! So I jump out of the donut shop and I'm running down the street with these weasels on my face, running and running and running like a constipated wiener dog. And it was just at that moment that I ran into the girl of my dreams. Her name was Zelda. She was a calligraphy enthusiast with a slide over bite and hair the color of strained peaches. I'll never forget the first words that she said to me. She said, hey, you've got weasels on your face. That's when I knew that it was true love. We were inseparable after that. We ate together, we bathed together, we even shared the same piece of mint-flavored dental floss. The world was our burrito. So we got ourselves married and we bought ourselves a house and we had ourselves 2 beautiful children, Nathaniel and Superfly. Oh, we were so very, very, very happy. Oh, yeah. But then, one fateful night, Zelda said to me, she said, Sweetie Pumpkin, do you want to join the Columbia Record Club? I said, whoa! Hold on now, baby. I'm just not ready for that kind of a commitment yet. So we broke up, and I never saw her again. But, you know, that's just the way things go in Albuquerque, New Mexico. But don't feel too bad for me, ladies and gentlemen, because things started looking up for me after that. Because I finally achieved my lifelong dream. That's right, I got myself a part-time job at the Sizzler. I even made Employee of the Month after I put out that grease fire with my face. Oh yeah, everyone was getting pretty jealous of me after that. I was getting a lot of attitude. Okay, so like one time, I was out in the parking lot trying to remove my excess earwax with a golf pencil. When I see this guy Marty, he's, you know, trying to move the sofa up the stairs up by himself. And I said to him, I said, hey, you want me to help with that? And then Marty just rolls his eyes and goes, no, I want you to cut off my arms and legs with a chainsaw. So I did. And then he gets all indignant on me. He's like, hey man, I was just being sarcastic. Well, that's just great. How was I supposed to know that? It's not like I'm a mind reader, for crying out loud. I mean, besides, now he's got a really cute nickname, Torso Boy. So what's he complaining about? Hey, that reminds me of another amusing little anecdote. This one guy walks up to me on the street and he says he hasn't had a bite in 3 days. Well, I knew what he meant, but just to be funny, I took a big bite out of his jugular vein. And then he's rolling on the ground and he's screaming and he's just like, there's blood everywhere. And I'm like, hey, come on, man, don't you get it? But he just keeps on the ground and he's just screaming, he's you know, completely missing the irony of the whole situation. Oh man, some people just can't take a joke, you know? Anyway, what was I saying? Kind of lost my train of thought. Well, I guess in a really roundabout way, what I was trying to say through all this is that I hate sauerkraut. That's all I'm really trying to say. And anyway, if you think that you're stuck in some sort of existential quandary, filled with loathing and self-doubt and racked by the pain and isolation of your cold, pitiful, meaningless little existence, at least you could take some sort of small comfort in knowing that somewhere out there, in this crazy old mixed-up universe of ours, there's still a little place called Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
We scored? Yeah, we scored. We're going to the playoffs.
With Julia's autism, loud sounds can be too much.
But she still loves to make music.
Yeah.
Play band.
Early screening for autism can make a lifetime of difference. Find out more at screenforautism.org.
Hello and welcome to another fabulous talk show interview segment. I'm your magnificent host, Carlos Flores. And here with me today is the bodacious Mr. Cody Byers. How are you today?
I'm good.
Glad to hear it. I'm doing quite well myself. Thanks for asking. Monsieur Byers, I understand you are appearing quite frequently as a character on the new JAG TV series Abstraction. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Could you tell us a little bit about that show and which character you play?
I play a character called Ben, who's the brother of the main character, Riley. She's searching for him because he's lost, getting into a lot of trouble.
Now, would you say that Ben has a major role in this TV show?
At first, it was told that Ben wouldn't have a big role, but as you could see over the few episodes, he's been there most of the time. So yes, I would say he has a big role.
Could you tell us a little bit about him?
Not very talkative.
How many episodes have you appeared in so far?
I believe 3, if I'm not mistaken. Ben's been in 3. Yeah.
3? Okay. Could you tell us what you would say has been the hardest filming day ever?
Definitely episode 5, where it was raining and had to get wet while sitting on the big round stool thing. It's horrible.
Stool thing.
Stool.
Okay. What has been the most hard line to memorize?
Definitely the one where my mouth wasn't moving. Definitely the hardest.
So what has been the most fun about this project?
That's a hard one. There's been a lot of different things, but...
Interesting. Now I understand that you have been in the previous JAG TV series called The End is the Beginning. Correct?
Sure.
What kind of character did you play in that one?
Most people would call it probably a redneck, hillbilly type named Sims.
And how would you describe your two characters? Are they similar?
I mean, they're similar because I'm playing both of them, but there's a lot of not similarities between the both. One talks a lot and one doesn't.
Interesting. I see that you have also been labeled as security for The End is the Beginning. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
It wasn't my choice, but hey, I was on the film set before being a character, and they said, hey, let's just give him a role. So security was available.
But these aren't your only characters in the TV shows. Could you tell us about your other characters?
I believe I played in 2 other films. One, I was just a party goer, werewolf party goer costume, and then the other, I was the bearded lady who would do anything you want for $15.
So would you say that character was your most memorable character to play? Definitely.
It was the most memorable character. Because she'd do anything you want for $15.
That means nothing to me. I don't understand.
You will soon enough.
Did you ever have any troubles while filming any of those films?
Not necessarily, no. Just...
Okay, wow. So now I've heard some rumors that I'd like to ask you about, if that's okay.
Nope. Nope.
Well, I was going to ask you anyways. The first rumor is that despite being a beloved member of the JAG TV series, that you're actually not a student of South Alabama. Is this true? Yes or no?
Who told you this?
Hot diggity dog. So, has that ever created any sort of problems for you?
Not that I could tell. Just some weird...
Wow. Now, the second rumor is about the future of your career with JAG TV. There have been recently been some leaked information that a highly anticipated sequel to that hilariously beloved student film, Fairy Forest, which will star Marius, is in the works, and is going to be a JAG TV side project coming soon. Do you know anything about that?
A little bit. But let's not give spoilers away too soon.
Fantastic. I am so excited. Now, on top of the exquisite news, there is one more rumor I would want to ask about. I hear that you may have a role in the Marius movie this time. Something to do with you playing the body double for a depressed Marius, the Thor in the Avengers Endgame. What can you tell us about that?
That's news to me. I haven't heard about it yet, so that should be fun.
How terrific. I can't wait. Well, Senior Briars, it has certainly been a pleasure talking with you, and I hope we can have you sometime again.
Sure.
Well, that's all. That's all the time we have for today, folks. Until next time, I've been your host, Carlos Flores, here on another fabulous talk show interview segment.
When I was growing up, my mom was extremely tidy. We were trained to put things back where we got them from. One day, when I walked into my mom's house, I felt like I walked to someone else's house. There was stuff everywhere. And just growing up the way I grew up and to see this transition was very alarming.
When Sean talked to me, it was a wake-up call, and that's when I went to the doctor.
Selfie. Nailed it.
Welcome back to another cynical review segment, where we take something everyone likes and tear it up with words. I'm your host, Hayden the Wise. And today, we are going to review the commercialization of popular holidays. First up, we'll start with the easiest to dump on, Valentine's Day. Sure, it's a sweet sentiment. It's just so sweet to do nice things for the people that you care about. But the way they market February 14th as the ultimate day in which you don't spend exorbitant amounts of money on someone you're either a loser. And that's not even considering yet what that does to single people. The amount of pressure put on people to get in a relationship whether they want to or not so they can look cool is ridiculous. This, of course, is due to the fact that love is marketable, thus making it profitable to pressure young people to get into a relationship and then spend lots of money on them, or else you're not cool. Speaking of cool, that leads me to the next holiday, what I like to call the hypocrite's holiday. That's right, I'm talking about Halloween, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I'm not trying to ruin anyone's fun. In fact, I think it's great that people enjoy dressing up in costumes. Lots of people do it all the time. Cosplayers, LARPers, actors, stunt people, kids, and more. For some reason, though, supposedly normal people mock and ridicule these people dressing up for fun all year long, all year except the last Thursday of October, when apparently it's okay and even cool to dress up and go to parties and pester people for candy, especially if your costume is incredibly sensual. Come on, some convention cosplays are more scantily clad than Halloween costumes. And what's with the obsession with death? Besides being a hypocritical holiday, Halloween is so overmarketed that it bumps off another holiday, one that is important to America, this blessed United States. Thanksgiving isn't as widely advertised because the only thing besides decorations that people buy is food. So it gets overlooked by the more commercialized holidays of Halloween, Christmas, almost like it doesn't even exist. Plus, the day after we're supposed to be thankful for what we have comes Black Friday. The day people murder each other to buy more stuff on sale. Buy, buy, buy. Those are the profitable holidays, not giving thanks. Thanksgiving really gets the short end of the stick for being such a nice holiday. Help fight the madness. Don't play Christmas music until after Thanksgiving. Ah, yes. Christmas. We finally make it to you. It really is one of the most wonderful times of the year. Everything is so pretty and nice as we celebrate Jesus' birth. So much tradition, so much merriment. Or at least it is, if you don't mind the fact that gift giving has turned into the most over-commercialized holiday of them all. There's nothing I can say about the situation that wonderful pastime of America, a Charlie Brown Christmas, didn't say better. So just go watch that classic, please. You're doing yourself a service. It's beautiful. On the subject of Jesus, how about Easter? From a Christian perspective, it's a celebration of his death and resurrection, right? So it seems like it would be a super important holiday. But no, can't have that. Not marketable enough. Instead, we just get these cheap plastic eggs, weird, green, stringy stuff, and baskets. Sure, there's stuff in the baskets, but compared to the commercialized Christmas, commercial Easter just seems lackluster. Okay, I will admit, I've gone on long enough about the bad. What about the good? Is there any out there? There are two holidays that I think have a decent balance of commercialization and actual holiday. Mardi Gras and America's birthday. I'm not a huge fan of Mardi Gras personally, but it seems to me that the amount of commercialization it receives actually plays into the parades and balls and parties and such. Meanwhile, the 4th of July is all about classic Americana, baby. And that's where the money's made. Fireworks, pies, flags, funny wigs, and the 1812 Overture, which ironically was written for Russia. These two actually use the commercialization to their advantage. Well, I'm tired out by all this talking, so I guess that'll be good enough for this cynical review segment. I've been your host, Hayden the Wise. See you next time when we cynically review the overuse of babies in diaper commercials.